Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. I have a yoga mat. If you don't happen to have one, fear not. Just find a place in your house that is not hardwood, for example. Not too slippery, not too hard. Maybe you've got a carpeted area you can use or a rug that could become your yoga mat for today. I also have 2 yoga blocks, but you could absolutely substitute 2 thick books. I have a folded blanket. A beach towel is great. The throw blanket from your couch is wonderful. And I have a really cute dog. So if you've got one, great. If you don't, you can borrow mine for the next 30 minutes. We'll hope she stays cute. Now, we'll start standing in mountain pose. So that's feet hip distance, parallel, a little soft bend in our knees. It's the foundational pose of all poses. And let's pay special attention to our shoulders today in this pose and in a number of poses that we'll do. So instead of letting our shoulders fall forward, as they can sometimes when we're standing or sitting, let's spin our inner upper arms away from one another, turn our palms away from one another. Let that inspire a long, strong, tall spine and an uplift of our sternum, which is our chest bone. Chin parallel to the ground. I like to say that we are gazing at our bright horizon. And it's here that we find our breath. If you can, in and out through your nose, but mostly I just want you to breathe. We'll add some movement. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V shape, and simply float as you exhale. Arms along your side, palms face out. Let's refine our nice open shoulders. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V shape, and then exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs for this first one. Now here's where we can get rounded, right? Let's not. Let's press into our hands and uplift our heart. Remember that sternum? Remember what we found in our shoulders? Let that be true here. Keep this length in your spine. You can stay where we are or start to slide your hands lower, but I don't want it to become a crumble and round. So let's take that design into a deeper hip hinge, wherever that lands for you. It could be up at your thighs, down at your shins, maybe even at your ankles. Now we'll inhale and even lengthen more if you can believe it, sliding our hands up. Exhale, fold back in, but keep that length. Let's just rise and reach, arms to the sky, inhaling, thumbs to the sky, and then stand in our mountain, palms face out, uplift to our heart. Adding more, inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands to your thighs, your shins, or your ankles, but let's keep that length, yeah? Inhale, lift your heart. This time, bend your knees and put your hands flat on the ground. Step back to our first down dog, and let's step wide in our down dog, and let's pay attention to stability in our shoulders, so we're not collapsed with our elbows out to the side. Push the ground away. Feel your sit bones lift and your spine stay long. So really, even though it's at a funny angle, you're trying to return to the spine that you were wearing in your mountain pose. Now shift to a plank, shoulders over wrists, and let's refine this with our knees down. So just bring your knees to your mat, right underneath where they'd be in a normal plank. And what we want to prevent is collapsing into our shoulders. So keep that pushing of the ground away. We're going to talk about this quite a bit in our practice today. I sort of talk about it anyway, but it's a little bit of our focus. I want us to feel that this contributes to some core work. So when you push the ground away, there's a muscle called the serratus anterior, amongst others, that will be called to action, and we want that. So we're not sitting in our joints, we're inspiring muscles around our shoulder joints. Now shift forward and come all the way down onto your belly. Once you're on your belly, uncurl your toes and place your palms flat on the ground. Pretend that we're in a very strange looking mountain pose, but press into your hands and smile your collarbones away from each other. You'll notice that you try to do most of it with your neck, so let's not. Remember, bright horizon, chin parallel to the ground. Bring that here. And just press into your hands and let it be subtle and maybe kind of new. I want you to imagine that you're tucking your tailbone, even though that's not really going to happen. So it's a long and strong back bend. If you think about it, your neck and your low back are already doing a back bend, so we want to invite that area between your shoulder blades. Let's keep this and hover our hands for a moment, and now your back body, your posterior chain, is called to action muscularly, which we want for standing tall and protecting our shoulders. We'll lower down and bring it into Sphinx pose. So now just situate your forearms parallel to the long edges of your mat, and we will traction our elbows towards us. We're going for the same uplift of our sternum, but we're coming at it from a different direction. So this is actually what's called flexion in our shoulders, and a moment ago when our arms were alongside us, it was extension. Our shoulders are amazing. They have all kinds of mobility, and we want them to have mobility and stability. So speaking of stability, curl your toes under and keep your forearms down. Press into your forearms until we don't have that collapse in between our shoulder blades. So protraction, meaning shoulder blades move away from each other. Maybe you feel the fingers around your rib cage, that serratus anterior muscle. Now just peel your pelvis off your mat and keep your knees down, and let's really oomph into our arms and really feel the core work that's required to even get us to this point. You might briefly take your knees off your mat, then return your knees to your mat and lower onto your belly. Take your hands next to your floating ribs. The same set of muscles, core work, stability in our shoulders takes us to all fours. Ready? And then down dog. Push the ground away. Lift your hips high. You can be hip distance or that wide stance with our legs, but we prioritize a long spine and no collapse into our shoulders. Then walk your feet forward, hip distance all the way to your hands. Inhale, take your hands to your ankles, shins, or thighs as you uplift your heart, and then exhale, slide them down wherever they go. Rise, reach. Inhale, arms to the sky, thumbs to the sky, and we pause with our palms facing out. Let's do a sun salutation A together. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Inhale, slide your hands up, uplift your heart. Bend your knees deeply enough that your hands go flat. We'll step back to a down dog with plenty of stability in our shoulders as we push the ground away. Shift it to plank, shoulders over wrist, keep pushing the ground away. Knees down, lower all the way to your belly. Keep that core work in mind. Uncurl your toes and either make it cobra or the Sphinx pose we did together. Lower down enough that you can curl your toes under, find your core work and shoulder stability through all fours, and then to our downward facing dog, still pushing the ground away. Walk your feet forward to your hands, let them be hip distance, and then inhale to shins, thighs, wherever they go. Exhale, hinge, and keep the length in your spine, and then rise and reach. Inhale. Stand in your mountain. We will step wide and do a little prop moving. So take your 2 blocks or books and turn them tall. Let them be at the long edge of your mat that's going to become the back long edge of your mat. And then face the opposite long edge of your mat, and we will step wide, thumbs to the sky. Ankles underneath wrists is the starting point. That's where we'll begin this. Now, turn your right leg out so that your right foot is facing the short edge of your mat, and cheat your left heel at a 45-degree angle. When we bend our front knee, we want to have a vertical line, a straight line from our right knee to our right ankle, so you might need a little bit more space. Then straighten that front leg and take your right arm up to the sky, pat yourself on the back with that right hand. Left arm out to the side, turn your thumb to face down and place the back of your left hand in the small of your back. Maybe you walk those 2 hands towards each other. You could even do that holding a dish towel in your right hand and dropping it down from on high. Once you have whatever's going to happen in your shoulders, we'll bend our front knee. And this is not something you have to remember, but your top arm, your right arm, is doing shoulder flexion and your bottom arm is doing shoulder extension, just in case that's of interest. We'll stay for 2 moments here. Using your right forearm, release your right forearm to your right thigh. Slide your left hand into the crux of your right hip. So a half bind and then forearm across our thigh. And take your time finding it. Let's remember to rotate our ribs to the sky and to note that our shoulders are not crumbled and collapsed. We're smiling our collarbones in a new position. 3 moments here. Now you are allowed to use your right hand on your thigh, but you've got to do it really carefully because I don't want you to press hyperextension into your leg. If you have a book or a block, you will grab that off the side of your mat and place it next to your right foot. If you don't have one, you can use your thigh, but I want you to push your thigh against your hand, and all of us will start to move that right leg towards straight. And boy, is it tempting to collapse, right? Let's not. Let's feel all that work that we did going into this pose and allow our collarbones to smile, our spine to stay long. 3 moments, just like this. A few things on our way out. Take a look down and bend your right knee. Move your block off the side of your mat and take your right forearm on top of your thigh again. We will come up to what's called a reverse warrior. You can keep your left arm behind your back. Just come upright and reach a little bit towards the sky. So we just have a little bit of a reverse warrior happening, and then release your arms out to the side and straighten your front leg. Turn all your toes to face the long edge of your mat. Left side, turn your left leg out. Cheat your right heel at the 45-degree angle we found on the first side. Our stance should be pretty okay because we were just here. Bend your front knee, thumbs to the sky. Warrior 2, just to try it on for size. And then we will straighten our front leg and bend our left elbow to the sky. Pat yourself on the back. Right thumb faces down, back of your right hand to the small of your back. If you want to drop your kitchen towel from your left hand and hold on that way, you can, but it's probably fine just back of the hand. And then bend your left knee and let it become a warrior 2 with, as I said on the first side, flexion in our top arm, extension in our bottom shoulder. 2 moments here. We take our left forearm across our left thigh and slide our right arm into a half bind. So it's finding that left crux of our hip. We're not collapsed, not into our arm and not chest to ground. So we're rotating, and we might, some of us, bring our block outside of our left foot and fashion this pose with a book or a block. So slowly, and if you have your hand on your thigh, remember, I don't want you slamming that into over straight, so hyperextension. But we will begin to straighten our left leg, and then we have to remember to turn our chest open to the sky instead of collapse it into a crumble towards the ground. Let's appreciate a pretty intense stretch in our left inner thigh, left hamstring. 2 moments here. Now to come out of it, look down so that you know where you're going. Bend your left knee, take your block off the side, left forearm across your thigh to get situated, then upright and left arm to the sky for a moment, our reverse warrior. We'll straighten our front leg and turn all toes to face the long edge of our mat. Now when you heel toe, bring yourself so that you're a little wider than hip distance, because we want, once again, as we bend our knees here, not to have our knees way forward of our ankles. So I've gone a little too far. So it could be a pretty wide stance here, knees over ankles. Arms out to the side. Turn your thumbs to face down. Now this is tricky because what I don't want is for us to turn this into a big dump into our low back. So go slowly with this. Do a fist bump behind your back. So fists come together and we stay with that lifted sternum, all the stuff that we've been finding, but here in a new context. If you need to straighten and rebend your knees, no worries, no problem. Most of us are going to find plenty to chew on right here. Some of us will take our palms together, a prayer behind our back, but I want us to make sure that that doesn't send us into struggle terrain. So let it still be a little bit effortless, even though there is clearly effort. And let it be uplifting of your heart and spirit. 3 moments here. Now we'll straighten our legs and turn our toes to face that long edge of our mat. Slide your hands down and create an interlace. You could also use your kitchen towel or your strap here in between your hands. Lift your heart like we've been talking about. Try to do that without a whole bunch of compensation in your low back. And then just take your arms up and over. Although it's kind of a straight-legged fold, I appreciate a little bend in your knees. Drift your weight towards the balls of your feet. Feel like you're wringing out any garbage that lives in your shoulders, the shoulds in your shoulders. And then bring your hands to your hips, firm through your belly. We'll come all the way upright. Get your druthers about you, make sure nothing is dizzying. And then slow motion, heel toe, feet hip distance. Let's tend to our props for a moment. Take the block that was farthest away from you so that you can face the short front edge of your mat with your two blocks situated on either side of you. And then let's step into our mountain and really wear that shoulder awareness into the majesty of our mountain. Now inhale, arms reach. Exhale, hinge at your hips and fold hands to your thighs. Inhale, lift your heart. Bend your knees deeply enough that you can bring your hands to your mat and step it to a down dog. Remember, as wide as your feet need to be, all good. Lift your right leg back behind you. Step it forward. For a lot of us, that means help it along as you go forward. And then take those two blocks on either side of you and steer your right hip back and your left hip forward a little bit. You're welcome to stay here, or bend your back knee a little bit and come upright, thumbs to the sky, V shape in a crescent. Then we'll return our hands to our blocks, move our blocks out of our way so that we can go to down dog. So palms flat, step back. Remember, push into your arms, stability in our shoulders. We'll shift to a plank, shoulders over wrists. We're filling out in between our shoulder blades, knees down, firm as you come all the way to your belly. Uncurl your toes, drag your chest through the gateway of your arms, either with Sphinx or with Cobra. Lower down, curl your toes under, come through all fours. And then lift your hips up and back, down dog. Lift your left leg behind you. Step it forward. No worries if you need to help it along. Trot your two blocks in. We're in a lunge for a moment. We steer left hip back and right hip forward. Some of us will remain where we are. Others of us will come upright, V-shape, thumbs to the sky. And I find bending my back knee to be a bit helpful to that equation. Return your hands to your blocks. Move your blocks out of your way. Come into a downward facing dog. Press into your hands a lot. Walk your feet forward to your hands, hip distance, hands to ankles, shins or thighs as we inhale and uplift our heart. And we'll exhale and hinge and fold. Then rise, reach, arms to the sky, V-shape. Stand with your palms facing out. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to thighs or shins or ankles. Inhale, lift your heart and find your blocks. Step your left foot back. Be in our lunge shape for a moment. Then turn your left foot, your back foot flat, and heel toe your right foot over to the right. Firm through your belly, hands on your hips, come upright. Already there's stretch and balance, we're asymmetrical. Arms out to the side, thumbs face down. Remember, we just did this fist bump, or work a prayer up your back. Now this is very important because I don't want this to turn into a collapse. So all I want us to do is to not go very far really, but hinge at our hip, find that long spine, and pause wherever we need to stop. So this is not, the objective is not to try to get your face close to your leg. It's to think, how long can I make from the my tailbone out the crown of my head? 2 moments, just like this. And then we'll come upright, free our arms out and up. Bend our front knee and spin on our back toes. Hands to blocks. Just step left foot next to right foot, hip distance. Hands on your thighs, lift your heart. Fold, you can slide your hands down as far as you'd like, but keep that long spine. And then inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, and we stand in our mountain and pause, wearing all of our shoulder work into our mountain. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, hinge, hands to thighs, shins, ankles, wherever you take them. Lift your heart as you inhale and then take your hands onto your blocks. Step your right foot back into our lunge and then turn your right foot flat. Heel toe your left foot to the left. Firm through your belly. Take your hands on your hips and come upright. We'll straighten both legs, but we're still intelligent about how we're straightening them. Arms out and then thumbs down. Fist bump behind your back, designed to smile collarbones and uplift your heart, not round your spine at all. And then you don't have to go very far. You might even just stay upright, and you'll hinge a little, possibly, and really feel like you are creating a smile. And the longest spine you can, and there's actually a whole bunch of core work going on here. 2 moments. Then we come upright, free our arms out to the side, spin on your back toes carefully, arms to the sky, bending your front knee, hands to your blocks. This time, move your blocks away, step to a down dog from here, so bend your left knee, step back, push the ground away, shift to plank, fill out in between your shoulder blades, bring your knees down and then your belly down very slowly. Uncurl your toes into your cobra. Maybe it's a sphinx. Lower down, curl your toes under. When we come to all fours, stay on all fours for a moment. I'm going to turn sideways so that this makes a little bit more sense for you as you watch me, which means I'm not going to really be on my mat, and that's fine. There are a couple of ways in which you might do the next thing. What I want us to really integrate is stability in our shoulders. So when we come into the various kinds of side planks that I'm about to show you, they never are a collapse. We're pushing the ground away like our plank that we did. Now, right knee, right hand, left foot, left arm up to the sky. Option 1. I'm not dropping into my right shoulder. I'm pushing the ground away, and having a kickstand of my right knee down can be very helpful that way. It's possible that some of you scissor your legs, so your right leg would go forward, you'd be on the outer edge of your right foot and inside of your left foot. But if that starts to collapse, I think you're better served with your right knee down. So you can join me in this little experiment anytime you want to. And then maybe the way out for those of us who have scissored is to carefully negotiate putting our right knee down again and then coming to all fours. You can shake out your right wrist. I'll turn around so that we can do side 2 facing each other, and I'm not turning my back on you. Let's first build it out. Structure in our shoulders. Left hand, left knee, right foot, and then right arm up to the sky. And I might curl my bottom toes, my left toes under. I might not. If you want to take it to the scissored version, your left leg will step in front. You'll be on the outer edge of your left foot. But we're really focused on our shoulders. We've been into some mobility. Now we're in stability, and we're in stability with just one poor little shoulder holding us up, one arm. 2 moments here. And then we'll bend our left knee and put it on the ground. Let that dismount us onto all fours. And then once we're on all fours, take your right arm up to the sky, swoop that right arm underneath. You'll come to the outside of your right shoulder, the outside of your head on the right side. Now you can come onto your left fingertips, and maybe, if it's okay with your neck, weave that left arm behind your back so it sort of reminds you of some of the shoulder mobility stuff we've been up to. Just 2 moments here. Unravel onto all fours. Once we're on all fours, we'll take our second side. So left arm up, and then it swoops underneath us, and we come to the outside of our left shoulder, our head. You can just keep your right hand down. Only if it feels comfortable enough might you take your right arm behind your back. Now unravel and find your 2 books or your 2 blocks. Place them so that you could put your head in between them, so they're about shoulder distance, and then place your elbows on your blocks. Think very sassy child's pose. Your forehead might not get to the ground, that's fine, but we will now make a prayer behind our back. In this position, we did a prayer behind our back where our shoulders were in extension. This is shoulder flexion. It's a great stretch. Let's pause. And then start to wriggle yourself free from where you've been. Take your 2 blocks, place them off to the side. It's possible that you might want your block to sit on as we come into a cross-legged seat. So cross-legged seat will just be right shin in front of left shin. And as we sit here, let's bring one of our friends back from our standing series. Left arm up to the sky, pat yourself on the back. Right arm out to the side, back of your right hand to the small of your back. If you want to use your strap or towel, you can. We'll pause here a moment or two. Got a hip opener happening and a shoulder opener. Now first, just carefully release your arms. See how your shoulders are doing. They've been through a lot, huh? Lean back, waggle your legs out in front of you. Let's cross our left shin in front of our right shin now. And as we find that, we will bring our friend back. Right hand pats you on the back. Left thumb faces down, back of your hand to the small of your back, or maybe those two work towards each other. And we sit for a full minute of silence on this side too. And then release your hands onto your lap. You could stay seated in meditation to end our practice today. Or lie down on your back for the classic Shavasana that we often do together. I leave it to you. Once you settle in, we'll get still and quiet. We'll probably listen to my dog Tippy snoring a little bit. That's been happening during our time together today. And then let's let ourselves let go. If you're lying on your back, start to think about collecting your knees into your chest and rolling to either side. From there, come up and join us in any comfortable way to sit. Could be cross-legged, doesn't have to be. And then either hands in a prayer or just place your hands on your heart and uplift your sternum into your hands or your prayer. Feel that bright horizon. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I look forward to us doing it again together soon.